Hey guys, it's Mark from Hallmark Pool Supplies, and in this video I want to show you guys how we maintain and clean our cartridge filter system. And in this video we're going to be working with the Clean Clear filter system by Pentair. This happens to be a 200 square foot cartridge filter. They do make systems smaller, they also make systems larger, but for the most part, as far as the maintenance and how we go about cleaning the filter, that's all going to be pretty much the same. So without further ado, let's dive in. So now let's take a close look at this filter. And when we look at the cartridge filter, you're going to notice there's a pressure gauge here, there's an air relief valve, we have the actual tank itself, and with inside the tank we have the cartridge, we have a locking ring that locks the top down onto the bottom half of the tank. We also have a drain plug. We have an inlet. This is where the water goes in. As it travels through the filter and gets cleaned, then the clean water goes back to the pool. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure once we have a clean filter or maybe a brand new filter and we start the system up, whatever the pressure is, that is our starting pressure. And for this video, let's just say we're going to start at 10 pounds. At 10 pounds, we're going to have to clean the filter when it increases by 10 psi. So when the needle gets to 20, then that tells us it's time to clean the cartridge. So what we want to do is we're going to start it off at 10, and the first thing we want to do is we want to go to the swimming pool and take note of the return or the return jets. That's where the water's shooting back into the pool. You're going to see the amount of pressure that we have. You've got good flow. We know everything is cleaned. We're sitting at 10 psi. And then as that needle goes up, we know it's time to clean, but at the same time, as a second visual, we can go back to the swimming pool and you'll notice that the returns in the pool are going to be a lot weaker. And when you see this, that is another visual that tells us it's time to clean the filter. For an example, if this is broke, we can use the returns in the pool as a visual. So this way we know if it's weak, it's definitely time to clean the filter. However, if your gauge is broke or not working properly, you definitely want to replace it, but using the returns as a visual, that also lets us know that it's time to check the filter to see if we need to clean it. When we get ready to clean the filter, first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off the pump. And once we turn off the pump, we're going to open the air relief valve. And by doing so, we're going to be releasing the pressure in the system so that we can take this apart. Now before we do so, that has been opened. We're going to get a pair of channel locks or pliers, and we're going to come down here and we're going to open the drain plug. As we remove this, all the water is going to come out. This way, when we take the lock ring off, we're not going to get soaking wet. And so we definitely want to take this and make sure that we keep the O-ring in here and so forth, that we don't lose this. We're going to set this to the side, and then we're going to come over to the lock ring. And underneath the lock ring here, there's some tabs, some buttons here. We're going to push that, and that is going to allow us to turn this counterclockwise so that we can release this ring. Once this ring is released, we're going to be able to remove it. And now we're going to be able to take the top and set that to the side. And we're going to be able now to remove the filter. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get a garden hose with a nozzle, get some high pressure, and we want to spray and clean the filter from top to bottom. And we're going to clean this all the way around. And once that's cleaned, we'll be able to put it back in. A lot of people ask, how often do I clean my filter? Well, that depends on your start pressure. Every time it goes up and hits that clean filter on the dial, then you know it's time to clean. There is no specific time because you can clean the filter monthly, it could be bi-monthly, it could be every couple months, it could be whenever. It just depends on how clean, how dirty the pool is, how many people are using the pool. If you have a lot of people and there's a lot of sunscreen and suntan lotion and women wearing makeup, these are all things that will dirty a filter a lot more. It also depends on the environment where you're living and how much dirt and debris gets in the pool. All of this plays a part in how clean or how dirty your filter is going to get. So when it does get dirty, we do have to clean it. Spraying it off really good will do the trick. However, there is a thing called deep cleaning, and that's when we soak a cartridge filter. And I recommend personally that you soak a cartridge filter at least several times a year. You don't have to do it all the time, but doing it a couple times a year, and the more that you do it, the cleaner this is, the more effective it is, and the more effective it will be in keeping your pool clean. So when we do a clean and we're soaking this, you want to go to your local pool store and get filter cleaner. The filter cleaner is sold pretty much at any pool store. We're going to take this, and this is a big filter now. Sometimes you can have a smaller filter and you might have a container that you can put this in, but we can actually get a waste can like this, put it in here. You're going to fill this up with water, put your filter cleaning solution in, and then let this sit pretty much overnight. And what you want to do is let this soak, let's just say for a good 8 to 10 hours. And because this is sticking out, then we can actually turn this over like so, and then let it continue to sit for the next 8 to 10 hours. And then the following day, we can take it out and then we can wash it off and clean it really good. So cleaning this and soaking it is not something you have to do all the time, but the more we do, the better this is going to keep your pool clean and the more effective it's going to be, and it's also going to help the life of this filter. Before we can put the filter back in, we want to make sure that the tank inside is clean, and we grab a garden hose. We're going to rinse this out, wash it out. Remember, we have the drain cap still off, so this way we can wash out any debris or murky water and let that rinse out. Once this is good and clean, we'll be able to put the filter back in. And before we even do that, we want to check the O-ring around the top. We also want to check the O-ring on the drain cap as well and make sure that it's good and clean. There's no debris, everything looks good. And we could even get some lube, and we can lube the O-ring on the drain fitting as well as the O-ring around the top of the tank. That will preserve the O-ring and also make it a lot easier for us putting it back together. Now, we got to turn this back over because this says top and this side says bottom. So there is a difference. So we're obviously going to put the bottom towards the bottom and the top towards the top. But this way, once we get this cleaned, we're going to be able to come over here and put this back in over our core. Slide it down. We want to make sure that the core, the manifold on top, is in line with the inlet. And it does show us here, if we go straight down, it's in line with the inlet. And then up here, we have a bleed sock. And we also want to make sure that this is cleaned. And if need be, that can be removed, and you want to clean it because we want to make sure that that's not clogged up as well. When cleaning a filter, it is very important that we are getting inside the pleats and spraying and washing everything out, even if we do soak it. And this will make for a good cleaning on the filter. Some people will ask, how often do we replace our filter? Well, average would be 2 to 3 years. Some people replace their filter every year. Some people go a little bit longer. Here again, this depends on housekeeping, how well you maintain and clean your pool, and how well you keep your filter cleaned will determine how long the filter will last. Signs that tell us that it's time to replace the filter. We have bands. These bands are glued on. They're holding the pleats together. And if these start breaking, then that's a sign that we need to replace the filter. We also want to make sure that the pleats are nice and straight and tight like you see here. And when this starts getting wavy, like I said, the bands are loose, or if you open the pleats and you look inside and it's hairy or fuzzy, then that's another sign that we need to replace the filter. And if we look at the top and the bottom cap, if we see stress or cracking in this, then that's another sign that we need to replace that filter. So here again, filters can last on average up to 2 to 3 years, and it really depends on your housekeeping that will determine how long that filter is going to last. So now that we've got the filter in, it's good and clean, we're going to put everything back together now. So we're going to take our drain cap. We've already checked it. Everything's good. We're going to put it down here, and we're going to screw it on. And then what we want to do is get a pair of pliers, and we want to make sure that we get this tight, not too tight. We don't want to over tighten it, just snug it up. And then we're going to grab our top. We're going to put our top on, making sure that that's down and good and tight. Then we're going to grab our lock ring. We're going to put our lock ring on. And then now we can actually rotate this. And we're going to keep rotating it till we hear it click. And now that it's clicked, it's locked on. She's good. We have our drain cap on. And remember, we still have our air relief valve open and we want to leave it open. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the pump and we're going to start priming and getting the system going. This will fill up with water, and we want to leave this open until we see a steady stream of water coming out. Once we see water coming out of here, we know that the tank is full and it's running, and we can now close this and lock her in position, and then we can confirm that we're at 10 PSI and we're good to go until we get back up to clean filter again, which will be 10 pounds over the starting pressure. So at this point in time, we've pretty much finished everything. And for those of you that are priming the pump, if you have a problem priming the pump, I did make a video on priming pump, and I will post a link down below for those of you that want to check that out. But hopefully you won't have an issue. You'll get it primed. Everything will be running good. We've got our pressure good, and once we've got our pressure where we want it, we can also go back out to the pool. We'll notice that we have good pressure at the return jets, and we're good to go. For those of you with those difficult pool-related questions or problems that you may have, I can help. Check out my Patreon page where I can book phone sessions with you. I can even do virtual service calls, and I'll be glad to help. If you guys are new to this channel, hit that like and subscribe button for future content. Definitely remember us at Hallmark Pool Supplies for all your pool needs. And by the way, everything in this video that we've talked about, from the filter to the lock ring to the pressure gauge, the drain cap, or anything else that you guys might need, I'll post links down below. And if you get on my site and can't find what you're looking for and you need help, contact me. I'll be glad to help. I definitely appreciate all you guys watching. My name is Mark, and I'll see you guys on the next video.